This is Paul Levy here, and I'd like to share some very practical ideas and experiences around using the digital world to actually run a study group, uh, which has become perhaps necessary during the coronavirus outbreak. As I sit here in my garden shed, still in a bit of self isolation, I've become aware of how our connection to some of the people we were only recently meeting with physically and perhaps studying together, we can't meet physically anymore. So obviously one option there is simply to not meet and is simply to study on our own and look forward to the time when we can meet again. And that might be a valid path for people who study together, is simply to wish each other well and perhaps agree, which could be by email or one online call, to simply agree something everyone's going to study. It could be a book, some book chapters, and then when we're able to meet again physically, we'll do that. What we've been trying to do is a study group that I've been hosting, and others have hosted over the years, in Brighton in different places, is to try and run a study group online. We've gone a little bit more public, and I'd say we've invited more people to it. And I'm not quite sure why we've done that, because we were a fairly small group in, say, the last year, of about half a dozen. Sometimes we'd be as small as four, sometimes it might go up to about eight or nine. And we would study some material together, something from the work of Rudolf Steiner that we were particularly interested in. So, online, how does that study group work? One way is to choose material that we've already got a physical copy of. So that might be a chapter from a book or a lecture that everyone has already got or is able to print out, and make good use of. So we're not printing out too much, but only that what we need to use. And everybody agrees to read that, and read it in the way we might read out loud. But some study groups already do have reading in advance before they meet. And you'll read it and you'll come to an online meeting, which could be on a platform such as Zoom, one of the online meeting platforms. And then you would reflect and you might discuss, as you would in a study group, what you've read. You might say offline, and that may not be possible if you don't have that shared material. So another way that we've been trying has been, I think it's been by force of necessity, which is that we have invited people that wouldn't usually come to the group. We've used this as an opportunity to throw the group open a little bit. And so what we do is we begin the meeting with a quote, which can be quite long, and it's up on some slides, and we use Zoom and invite people to read that. Now, again, that could have been offered in advance to minimize screen time. In this case, we invite people to turn off their cameras, to look away from the screen, and essentially they might close their eyes or they might just go into a place of listening. There's nothing weird about it. You just choose how you would like to listen in a kind of stillness. You might start your meeting in the same way with a verse, which brings everyone together. It's often used in study groups, a poem or some sort of just some words that bring us together. People also might, just to get themselves in the right mood, want to prepare their room like they might do as if they were going to a study group, and find that a candle is lit and so on. But we come to this place where then the words are read, but you're not reading them on the screen, apart from the person reading it out, who may also have turned their camera off and be reading it from a book or from something printed out. And the camera is off, and we agree maybe to have some time to reflect on what we've read, and then we come back together. And we might come back together on an audio or a video call, and that's when we reflect. And it is very, very much about the same principles of not just then opinionating, which is something very easy to do online in the world of social media, but to truly respond to what we've thought about, and to listen and reach to listen to what other people are saying, and to build our thinking out of what we've heard. So there's quite an important role in a study group online to kind of just be aware of how easy it is to talk fast, to advocate things, to just say what the first thing is in your head, which happens at other study groups too, but to go into a place of a bit more kind of slowed down thinking about what's been said and forming what you're going to say out of what you've heard, either individually or what's arising collectively in the group. So this could be done also between teachers who are studying together in a Waldorf environment too. My suggestion is that these meetings do not go on too long. Screen time takes its toll, and there are opportunities again to have a break, just to reflect and just to think and to move away and turn the screen off. so we're not just staring all the time at the camera. So the study group can be, I would say, half an hour. It may be something very small you just study together, and it could become a regular thing. You might go on for longer, but I think a break becomes important. At our study group, we had a break, but we worked through two different quotes, very different from each other, exploring a theme. And then, as we would do at a study group, and then we closed with a story, just a story from one of Aesop's fables. The study group was in the evening, and again, it was an opportunity to turn the camera off and simply listen to the sound of someone's voice as they shared something with you that didn't involve staring at the screen as if we're all just on a call together. So then the online world becomes a means for us to study as close to as if we're in the physical world as possible. Now that might sound like denying the digital world, but in some ways I would say it's not. It's simply placing the importance of calmness and silence and our relationship to ideas that can get disrupted by these screens, which are essentially flashing on and off faster than we can actually notice. So we're experimenting. We'll see how it goes. We've done 2 study groups online so far. They certainly don't feel as if they could replace when we are able to get back in a room together. But certainly at the moment, the feedback is people are enjoying and valuing having the opportunity currently once a fortnight to share an hour together and to study together.